Chapter 16. The Internet is an interdimensional window. We common persons might not have become aware of coexisting universes if not for the Internet. Photography and print media hinted at them, but most did not question what was presented. It's now possible to produce stories without totally conflicting yet accurate events. The Internet demonstrates this every day. Why? Unless you were there, you can't actually know if events described happened in your universe. You must decide to accept what is real. The operative word is you. Remember, at the beginning of this book, we established that your consciousness is all you can know and have ever known. Thus, narratives outside of experiential, sensorial experience must be accepted to be true. Media is a veil, or a veil. We know it's a half-truth. We see its mastery of visual and sonic reality in blockbuster movies and games. There's no need to ever accept what you read on the internet as real. With Truth Cypher, we at least have a guiding principle to help us with what we decide is real. So it's a short chapter, and I'm sort of playing with an idea here, because prior to, let's say, prior to the printing press media, like what was real to you was your sensory world. Like you didn't really go very far, and then there would be hearsay from afar. You'd still be getting information, but it'd be traveling very slowly and probably be changing a lot over time, like the game of telephone and whatnot. So what we have, maybe the game of telephone is an apt metaphor for media. It's just that it's the game of telephone at hyperspeed. So, something can happen and 10 minutes later can be disseminated across the globe. And, hundreds of perspectives are generated on the one event that happened 10 minutes ago because of the different lenses and ideologies and realities people are bringing to events. Now you have the internet, which is it's pretty much doing this. It's the tool that lets us see real time, or what we think of as real time. Now I think most people are pretty comfortable with the idea that it's one's perspective that alters the facts, but somewhere out there is this world of objective facts. Reality did unfold in one way, even though not a single person could identify that one objective way. In your sensory world, like you go outside, everything is as it was. Things do reveal themselves to be consistent and true. In the media world, it's like you keep returning to the story that you've plugged into. So if you were like me and you've checked out of one particular narrative and you're kind of trying to filter numerous disparate narratives, you start to see that what's regarded as facts are not consistent. Like you could just be getting, somebody could be saying the opposite from one viewpoint, and it's not, and it just will go unchecked. It's like, well, this like there probably are people who spend their whole life debunking or trying to realize an objective, trying to find the objective narrative. I wonder if they ever do. I don't think it's possible, because I think at least in the media, even in the alternative media, you have a set of values that's going to guide what you accept as true. And now with the internet, it just is on display. and the fact that you're choosing the reality you live in, it's very, very evident. It's very obvious. I think for the few people still locked in a partisan, maybe it's not a few people, maybe that's most people, unfortunately, to even realize that, to even come to this realization, they might never come to it. They might not even see, they might be so locked into their ideology, they might not even see what the other side, let's say you're Democrat, they might not even see what the Republicans are saying. And those are like what do you call it? That's the controlled dialectic. Is that the right way to say that? That's just that's sort of a way to make it seem like there's a conflict, and there's like a great conflict, even though like both is like, it's been said those are two wings of the same bird. If you are looking at it in terms of a control system, certainly a media control system, because those are, you have your, mostly it's a left leaning media or liberal media. I don't even know if it's really left, because there's just so many different ways to even describe the terms. And then you have a right, a conservative leaning media, and they'll disagree on things. However, in terms of, if you're looking at things like an anarchist, it's like they're still just default, they're still just, it's more like, how do you use the state? It's not really, although conservatives, they'll play lip service to small government, like they don't, they've got the largest militaries, which are government, and that's what's siphoning all our tax money. So, it doesn't really, it's just sort of a, it's a smokescreen or something like that. But anyway, I don't know, let's see. I just wanted, I think the title, I just wanted to sort of try to demonstrate the title. The internet is an interdimensional window. So we've kind of laid this out in a way that most people can understand. That's not really bringing in like the fringe multi-worlds theory. Now, if you do bring in the theory of this book, that reality is unfolding differently for every single sentient, I'm going another step further, and I'm suggesting that the internet is showing this. Like, you will find the internet is a portal to show you different realities. And that's pretty weird. Oh, that's not good. Sorry, a truck pulled up in front of me full of debris, like right in front of the car. That's really not good. All right, I think it's going to be okay. Well, that's my sensory reality. Looking like I'm going to be, me and my car are going to be covered in debris. But it doesn't look like it's going to roll out that way. Yeah, what was I saying? Oh, I was saying, like, this theory taken to its conclusion, when you look at what the internet is, if multiple events are simultaneously accurate, you will get photography, you will get media, you will get journalism saying extremely conflicting things. You'll get observers saying conflicting things. Now, if you don't buy into the fringe theory, you're just going to say it's ideology guiding that conclusion. Probably right. That's an uncontroversial way to look at it. If if you take the multi-worlds quantum theory to a more extreme conclusion, like as I'm saying every person is their own universe, which is somewhat, seems intuitively true at some level, because you have no way of proving that other universes exist besides your own, the one that you live in. So yeah, I'm saying that the internet is showing you the multiverse. And I guess the more extreme examples that I like to return to are like the hoaxing, like the stage terror false flag events. And it kind of goes back to why I came up with this theory, because like if you get into that world of finding the proofs of stage terror and false flag terrorism, you will find it. It's very disturbing because you're going to find, like I always return to the one that just, to some of the ones that blew my mind. Like, well, first, like when I really sat with this YouTuber called PK, and he decoded the Boston bombing. It really, when he narrates when he tells you what you're actually seeing as opposed to what you've been told you're seeing, it does look like it doesn't look real anymore. So that's one. But what I found a more recent PK of, there was the London Bridge bombing, I believe, and there's literally a person, giving CPR to a mannequin. There's no way the figure on the ground couldn't be a mannequin. Your brain would have to tell you you're not seeing a mannequin. Your brain would have to generate a reality that the mannequin becomes a living or a dying person, because it's not a person. In my reality, when I look at that, when I show that to most people, they're just like, well, that's really weird. That's a mannequin. And that was a news photo that probably, I don't forget where it went around. It was one of the established photos from the terror attack. There's always sort of a fixed amount of photography to push the narrative. And so at the most extreme ends of my theory, I'm saying, if you're a person who doesn't go down these rabbit holes and you believe the news media, there's no way I there's no way I could convince you that that's not a mannequin, or that is a mannequin. You're living in a reality where you're seeing a person who was struck by a truck, and they're getting CPR. When I look at it, I see a mannequin, but because you're co-generating reality with me. We're having this sort of moment in reality where we're looking at the same thing, but our overlapping universes are sending us different signals. I just say that because there's no way somebody who believes the news media wouldn't hoax like that. They're just, the cognitive dissonance would just not. I don't quite know what goes on. It's like you just sort of, when you see these things that just don't make any sense and they're so obviously fishy. I think the cognitive dissonance means you just kind of shut down and you don't really deal with the problem, the reality problem that is manifest before you. And on the conspiracy end, I think it sort of can get pretty imbalanced because you don't know where the conspiracy ends and reality begins, too. So for me, like, this theory kind of has helped me toward us take a step back, because there's things you're never going to know the truth about, and you can, if you're into conspiracy, you're going to chase and chase and chase, and it can be a hobby, it can be fun, but if people really died, like, is it really like a productive hobby? If people are suffering, like, so in terms of what this Truth Cypher is about, it's like I needed to find a way to take a step back from these, what I was finding, in these realities. Like it's not so important that they put that there's a mannequin getting CPR. I think it's a clue. It's really like you have to just you have to find that higher truth and say, well, what is the effect of these terror attacks? Like, I'm not really. It is sort of, you're going to offend people if you just start showing people mannequins in terror bombings, because they won't see them, even though they're so obvious. So you have to kind of just, if you can talk to people at a level of like, well, what happened? What is the effect of these bombings? And it's usually a negative effect to you, the person they're saying they're protecting. So that was sort of the only way I could look at it in a way that I think is relatable, even though I'm coming at it from a very far fringe perspective, from sort of combining different quantum theories and suggesting that reality unfolds differently. We certainly know reality plays out differently in the mind, and I'm just suggesting it goes one step further, and it just the mind is generating reality, and we agree on there's a consensus reality, but there's those universe, and our universes kind of overlap like that flower of life, overlapping circles, like each circle being a universe, and those overlaps are consensus reality. But there's parts of the flower that don't overlap. Well, they actually all overlap with different universes. So it creates this tapestry. So I think I probably went a little long, probably because the truck distracted me. But hopefully I've articulated that. Sometimes I don't know how well I've riffed on a position, but and this one is, you can see that it's really a theory, and it's I to be honest, I don't know if I believe this theory. Like, you couldn't function in the world if you really believed, if you truly believed that everybody is a universe. Even if that's true, if you truly believe that, like it's not like a function. I don't think it's a workable way to navigate reality. I think it's a workable device to say that, at the very least, everyone's perception is unique to them. And that's really what you get with the news. You get a perception they want, and they try to push their perception on you. So we've got to go one layer up and just analyze the effects of the stories they're telling. Because, do we really know what reality is anyway? This is just it's kind of a thought experiment. And, I feel like it helped me get to a place where I can at least analyze things. All right, that's it for today.